What's up, everyone? It is your girl, GLBeauty 87 here, aka Grace Honey, and today we're getting into the new Blend Bunny Sickly Sweet palette. So it says 30 spoiled rotten shades. So here is what. Oh, it doesn't have a plastic. Oh, okay. So here's what it looks like on the inside, honey. It is not. Oh, I thought this was a little plastic cover, but mine wasn't sitting on here. It just got stuck to the mirror. So anyway, this is what it looks like on the inside. It's definitely giving me some confusion as far as like what to pair with what, just because she didn't follow her traditional thing. But I like that sometimes, you know, like you want to mix it up a bit. And like I said in the comment section, when somebody's asked me how I felt about it, I'm like, well, brands change and grow all the time. Nothing remains the same. So like we shouldn't expected her to do like the same roles forever. You know, like you gotta switch it up sometimes, or else it'll make the brand boring. And you know, you gotta grow and evolve. So I'm assuming this is her way of growing and evolving. And she's probably tired of having to like lay out the color stories every single time for everybody. Especially like a lot of YouTubers and like influencers, she sent the palette to her, just giving you swatches of each color to like help you with the way she normally sets up the roll. So I mean, like the problem has been solved. And I actually kind of would like it if she does it this way moving forward sometimes, just to switch it up every now and again. And you can refer to the older palettes just to kind of get an idea of like the setup and whatnot. So I'm fine with it. I think it's a little bit unique and gives a little bit of a challenge for people who don't, you know, like who have an idea of color theory and just the way they like to put stuff together. So that was just my 2 cents regarding the matter. But let's get to these comparisons, because I know y'all love when I give you a good comparison. Now, I actually don't have that many palettes to compare to this one this time, because I don't own a whole lot of pastel, because pastel doesn't usually work for people my skin tone, as we all know. I still try to make it work though, because I do really like pastels in the spring, and sometimes I like them in the winter. But of course, got to start with the Sugar and Grunge palette, because I feel like it's giving some pastel to it, not a whole lot, but some. And this is the way the palettes are traditionally set up, so I can understand why people are upset, because they're like, now it's everywhere, what do I do? But you saw she kind of gave you a hint she was going to start doing that, because the shimmers at the bottom don't match up the way they used to. So there's that, but that's what they look like side by side. Then I have the Retro Love palette from Beauty Bay. Now I know these aren't similar, but I feel like they may have some similar colors in them, even though it is scattered around. So I figured I'd show both of those. Y'all, my battery blinking, and I've only been sitting here talking for like 30 minutes. So I don't know what is going on with the foolishness, honey. Let's see how many of these we can get through before she decides to die. She's real disrespectful. So I have both the Creepy Cute and the Creepy Cute 2 palette. So I'll start off with the Creepy Cute. I have the original one that still says Strobe Cosmetics before the brand went to Shroud. And I feel like this was like a good miniature version. If you just wanted to try out some pastels and had good quality to them, you would go ahead and try out this palette. So I felt like it'd be good to show alongside this one. So I am. The Creepy Cute 2 palette seems to me personally more of a neon fashion. But again, I felt like it might have similar colors. So I was like, I'll risk it and show it. Why not? It's here. I'm here. Everyone's here. I might show it against the Glam Light one too, even though I feel like the Glam Light one sticks to main lighter colors and not deeper ones. But here is the Sugar and Spice alongside it. And I did purchase the new one, and I actually got to the site on time, and it actually crashed, and I had to wait a few minutes. So I was like concerned, like, well, that I missed it, and that's why it crashed. Like, what's going on? Then we have the After Dark palette from Lethal. I'm debating on getting their level 2 or up 2 palette or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to see. Then I have the Wildflower. I felt like they had some similar tones, and some of these, you all know, you know me, I'm gonna make it a companion palette, so I might be making that a companion palette. Then I have the one from Annette's Makeup Corner, Serenity. I feel like this could just be fun to add deeper outer V shades that would work nicer with these pastels, so that's why I included it. They didn't die. Let me find out. Okay, one more. Sugar Crystals from Violet Voss. I feel like this would definitely be a good one to pair it with. And I really like the shimmers in here as far as the iridescence goes. So there's that one. I had one more I was going to show, but it's over there on the floor and the battery's blinking. So I'll come back and show that one when I get ready to do my eye look. Let me zoom in here real quick. Cute light girl. I have on the Patrick Ta face palette like shimmers on my lid, and one of the toppers. So this is the topper, and it's giving luxury. And then this is the silver from the Major Holiday face and eye palette. So okay, y'all, so this is the eye I came up with the palette. So I used this under my lower lash line. I used this shade, This is on the outer V. I mixed these two together to make our transition shade at the top. I of course had to try this one out, so it's in the inner corner. And I use this shimmer in the inner corner on top of it. And I use this shimmer and this shimmer on the lid. So let's get into it. I'm trying to start remembering to name brushes. So I'm starting with the shade Bellyache. That was the super light one I told y'all about. Put that underneath here. This is a Sigma E40. Sorry, E45 Max. This was part of their like deluxe blending set that I told you all about in the Sigma video that I did, was said brands you're sleeping on that you shouldn't. I'm so excited about their Beauty and the Beast collection, like my girl Karen is, because when it had got leaked on Trend Mood, I was like, oh, I didn't know it was a leak till Karen talked about it in her new makeup releases this week that came out. But I was like, ooh. Now I'm gonna take the shade Party Dress on top. I just wanted to have a little like kind of lightness to the brow bone and whatnot, but still, you know, have a color that's somewhat similar to my skin tone, because since we're gonna have light ashy pastel-y shade, I wanted to have, you know, something light underneath the brow, but not too light to where it's like all of it looks ashy, if you will, or all of it looks a bit too light for some of my skin tone. So that's why I mixed those two shades. But anyway, back to the Sigma palette. So I'm excited. I'm wondering how many more they're gonna do, because I'm like, I like Sleeping Beauty. So like, are y'all gonna do Sleeping Beauty and some other ones like Snow White, or they just gonna do the whole shebang or whatever? Now I'm going to shade Temper. And y'all, this shade gave me hell when I was trying to use it the first time. I literally had to take the eye look off and then start up again. So needless to say, I had a temper when I was using it, because I was like, it's just not doing what it needs to do. Like, I had to use like 3 different brushes just to get it to stay on, and I still felt like it didn't like stay the way it was supposed to. On here, like, it, see, like what I'm saying, like in the crease right here, it's still patchy in spite of me having eyeshadow primer on and like having used like 2 or 3 different brushes to try to make it work. So I'm not a fan of this shade, but I used it on one side and got it to work. So I was like, use it on the other one. Plus, I'm kind of glad I did use it so I could tell you all about that situation, because like, yeah, it's still doing it now. Like, look at that giant hole of like a gap. And I had to like reapply eyeshadow primer there and then put it on again to try to get it to work. So it's like quite a dip in mine, even though I'm trying this palette for the first time, just because I had to use so much in order to try to get it to stay, and then it still didn't want to stay. So it's like you literally have to pat it down lightly and then move your brush. You can't try to like blend it out or anything, because if you try to, it just leaves like a giant gap. Like, see, y'all see, I'm literally patting it in, it's still leaving like that giant gap behind. So like, I see why it's called Temper, because it makes you have a temper for having to sit here for 20 minutes and pat it in. Like, I'm really not feeling the shade at all. But I had already put it on the other side for the look, took it off and redid it again. So I'm just like, I guess we're just gonna have to go ahead with it or whatever, and then I'll have to pat some back on once we get there. So next, I'm gonna take this Sigma E45. Wait, no, not the E45, the E35, I think it is. Yeah, the E33 diffuse crease brush. I'm going to the pink that's on the outer part, because I didn't have any issues with this pink. Like, as you can see, the pink's working just fine, but for some reason, like, that corally shade was just being really difficult for no reason. It's still being difficult because I still see like this giant gap here or whatever. I don't know what's going on with that and why it's being a difficult little bitch, but it's really obnoxious and I'm not feeling it like at all. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm trying to do this eye look for y'all, and I had to take off the eye look and like do it again on the side that you didn't see on camera, just to get it to stay and fit. And it still has that same giant hole that it had last time after I changed brushes twice. So just stay away from Temper if you're gonna buy this, because like, it's gonna irritate the hell out of you, because it just doesn't want to stick down. I don't know what its problem is. Now I'm gonna take that dark purple shade I showed you all, put that on my outer V. But yeah, that Beauty and the Beast set, I need it. I know it's like kind of a boring palette, but you know, like to me they always do a good job of making a sophisticated version of Disney collections, so I think that's why I like it. And I was disappointed in the Alice in Wonderland from ColourPop, which is why I was kind of glad they came out with one, even though it wasn't necessarily exciting shades, but you know, to me it was like at least a more cohesive color story, whereas like the ColourPop one is like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? It's like you just threw colors in a palette, and I was just supposed to be excited about it and buy it because it was Ladson one, which I did, but like, you know, like I wanted a more cohesive color story. And then the fact they put in those weird pans where it's like you have to like use it the way it is, or you have to do what I did and like scoop out the shades and press in new shades in order to get like a halfway decent palette, because they gave you such a random retarded color story. It's just like I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, I didn't like it. So I was glad the Sigma came out with one that worked better. And that was a Sigma E25 that we used on the outer V. Like I said, I'm trying to get better and be a better YouTuber when it comes to like talking about brushes and stuff I use too. Because I have in the past had people ask me about brushes and asked me to do a whole video on the brushes that I do use a lot. Like they asked for face brushes and eye brushes. I think I did that like a couple of years ago. So I'm thinking about like revamping it and doing another one. If anybody's interested, comment down below and I'll do it. But otherwise, since y'all prefer eyeshadow content, I'll probably just try to stick to that. I'm still trying to fix this shade. I don't know why though, because it's like once I put the glitter glue on, it's not going to really make a difference, and you're just going to see the top part. So that part where it's patchy in the middle, it's not going to be as big a deal. But you know, like it's just annoying like when you're watching yourself do the look and then it's like this just random patch where you know there's supposed to be eyeshadow that's annoying me. Anyway, let's get the glitter glue cut. So all the shimmers look really similar too, which I don't like, because this is supposed to be the corally one and this is supposed to be the pink one, and then that's supposed to be the lime one. The only one I feel like you can tell the difference between is the yellow one, because it has more of that silver undertone to it. But the pink and the coral to me look really similar, so I'm like, what? So it seems like it's those shimmers like in the Glaminatrix, what is it, Glamorous palette, where you have to put it on top of a matte in order for it to get like some type of base and undertone to it, which I'm not necessarily a fan of either. So I'm just kind of like, first this first shade doesn't want to work, and then all the shimmers are looking similar on the lid, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about any of that. Well, I mean, I know I do. We're gonna talk about it at the end. Yes, I'm starting off with the pink shade called Cotton Candy. Put that toward the back of the eye, and I tried to like pat it on as opposed to like swiping it on, because I feel like when I pat it on, I got a little bit of the pink coloring, whereas opposed to I feel like if you swipe it on, it's not going to give as much coloring. But as you can see, it's giving more of an iridescent like topperish type vibe, whereas I wanted some more pigment in it. So I'm a little disappointed by that as well, because it's like if you don't want to have just a topper-esque look to the eye and you want the pigmentation that it looks like in the pan and you're not getting it, that's something that's annoying as well. I don't know what's going on my eyelid either. Like this weird film came up on it after I put on both the shimmers combined. So I don't know if it was something in them that made that happen, because when I normally do that, I don't get this weird brown thing on my lid that I have. There's like a brown spot after I combine both these colors together. So I'm putting on Ruffles now. That's a more coral one I put towards the front. So as you can see, I'm just kind of trying to pat it, if you will. And see what's going on. And yeah, it's doing it on this side too. So I don't know if it's when you combine them, if something weird goes on the lid. But like, I don't know if you all will be able to see. But see, like there's this weird brown knot that happened after I put both of them on the side, and I think you can't see it over here. Yeah, there it is right there, that weird little, I don't know what's going on when I put both the shimmers on there. It does that weird thing on my lid, and I don't like that either. So it's just, this is a whole thing. I'm gonna take this shade Temper again, the one that gets on my last nerves, and see if I can just fill this little hole right here. Since where the glitter glue is, like you can still see it. It's partly why I put the liner over it, so hopefully you couldn't see it. But it's like, since it's doing it on both eyes, you've seen it. So I'm going to take the shade on the outer V and put a little bit on. Y'all know I like to blend in the outer V with this, so I'm just take a little bit of that and put it out here. Then I'm gonna take my E45 Max and just dust all around here. I'm gonna do the eyeliner off camera, of course. But I'm gonna take my pencil brush and take the shade Spooky, this one at the bottom I told you all about, and that's what's underneath my lower lash line, so we're gonna do that. And then I have the Nabla navy blue like pencil in my waterline from earlier today when I did my Patrick Ta look, because I just did a cool tone like smoky eye, and instead of putting the black in there, I thought it'd be unique and put like a navy blue instead, because I already had black on the outer V, so I was like, let's try a little bit different, you know, just a little bit. So that's what I did. That's what we're working with. So go ahead and touch that underneath here real quick. And cute line, you know. I'm gonna take the same brush and touch underneath. So let's go to the inner corner and then we'll talk about my thoughts. So I'm gonna take that shade Center of Attention, this neon one. I'll put that in my inner corner, and then we just top this one on top, because I figured maybe it would give it more of that color if I put a matte and then a shimmer. Once I saw that the shimmers on their own weren't really giving that much pigmentation, that's when I was like, okay, let's use this. Plus, y'all know me, I had to use this sort of kind of color shade just because I wanted to see how well it's gonna work on my skin tone, and it worked out pretty nicely. I thought it would be a little bit brighter, but you know, it's cool that it's not the world isn't come to an end. It's not that big a deal. I'd have preferred it was a little bit brighter, but could be because I put it in my inner corner, and obviously I didn't put any primer in my inner corner, so that could be the reason why it's doing that. Anyway, let's put the yellow shimmer shade on top. I feel like the shimmer shade actually drowned it out and didn't actually give as much color as I was hoping, but you know, it's doing better than some of the other ones are with the shimmers being alone. So let's get my thoughts on this palette. Take my hair down, try to be cute. So I'm not impressed with it. And I never thought I'd see the day where I don't like a Blend Bunny palette, but this is probably my least favorite Blend Bunny palette at all. From the shade starting off being patchy and me having to take off my eye and use 3 different brushes just to make one shade work, I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. Then the shimmers not being pigmented, as you see, they're just like kind of topper-esque things that I'm not necessarily a fan of. And I don't know, like I was rooting for it because the other pastel palette seems to be okay, the Sugar and Grunge, but this one, I don't know, it's not giving or doing what I was hoping it would do at all. Maybe if I pair it with the Sugar and Grunge, I'll like it better, but just on its own, I can't necessarily say that I like this palette. I'm not that impressed. I hate to have to say it, but y'all know me, I'm gonna be honest, and honestly, I'm not impressed with this palette. She has way better palettes that do a way better job than this, and this one just missed the mark and fell short for me. So, but then again, pastels don't always work for people my skin tone, so it could just be that whole aspect of it, and that's why I'm not necessarily loving it, and I should stick to just the darker shades in this palette, and maybe I'll like them better, and I have to put the shimmer on top of like a matte in order for me to like it better. So let's try to put the shimmer on top of a matte just for me to swatch and see, and maybe I'll feel a little bit differently, at least when it comes to those. But like, I don't know, that temper shade really just pissed me off to start off with, and then the fact that the shimmers are more like topper-esque is another deterrent personally for myself. So those are like my 2 huge issues with this palette. Let's see. So here is the shade Cotton Candy on top of a matte. See how it gives you more of a base, which is more of what I hoped for. So it's one of those what's going to be like the Glamorous palette. You're going to have to put it on top of a base in order for it to work out for you better. But that doesn't change the fact that the temper shade gave me all that trouble. And the fact that I prefer to not have to put a shimmer on top of matte. So this just isn't my preference when it comes to a palette. And I'm gonna have to say, I don't personally recommend you buy it if you have the same preferences of eyeshadow as I do, because I just don't feel like it did for me what I was hoping it would. But those are my thoughts on the palette. I hate that, like I said, I had to say that, but y'all know me, I'm gonna be honest, and it's not impressing me. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'm gonna try it again later on this week and see if my feelings are different about it, so you can follow GELBEAUTY on Instagram and see if I come up with some nicer looks. I'm gonna pair it with the Sugar and Grunge palette too to see if I like it better that way, because it might just have to be a companion palette to me as opposed to a standalone, and you know, that's okay too. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.